Now, what if I told you that one humble Australian inline-6 engine once sent General Motors headquarters into full-blown panic mode? Not a supercar, not a monstrous V8, but a quiet, unassuming six-cylinder that almost broke GM's global power structure. An engine so advanced, so durable, and so embarrassingly better than what GM was building in America that Detroit actually tried to bury it. This is the story of the Holden 202, the engine designed in Melbourne, banned in Detroit, and nearly erased from GM's official history for being too good. Tonight, we're not just telling an engine story. We're opening a file GM hoped would stay sealed forever. So buckle up, because this is Australia's greatest mechanical secret. Please subscribe to the channel. It genuinely encourages me to make more insane stories like this, and trust me, you're going to want more after this one. The Hidden Beginning. Our story begins not with a bang, but with the 138 red motor in 1963. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't powerful, it wasn't built to impress Americans, it was built to survive Australia. Blistering heat, dust, long distances, brutal roads. What came next? 149, 161, 173 cubic inch versions slowly refined this rugged little engine into a local legend. But nothing prepared GM for what came in 1969. The engine that should not have existed. 1969, Holden engineers in Melbourne, led by the brilliant Ian Tate, attempt the impossible. Increased displacement without making the engine any bigger. To Detroit, this was a waste of time. To Melbourne, it was a challenge. And then, they did it. Through advanced metallurgical techniques far ahead of the era, they created thinner, stronger cylinder walls. They kept the block the same size and pushed displacement to 202 cubic inches, 3.3 liters. This wasn't just clever. This was revolutionary Australian engineering. And when the data reached Detroit, something strange happened. GM executives suddenly stopped smiling. The moment Detroit panicked, Holden sent 202 powered test vehicles to the US. And the results? The 202 was too good. It outperformed several American V8s in durability, heat resistance, stress testing, and even fuel economy. Executives were stunned. Engineers were confused. Managers were concerned. Because if a regional Australian inline-6 could beat GM's core American engines, what did that say about GM's entire global strategy? The answer scared them. And so, meetings were called. Folders were stamped internal only. Phone calls were made. The question wasn't, how do we improve it? But, how do we make sure this never embarrasses us again? The quiet sabotage. Over the next 2 years, decisions were made behind closed doors. Export plans canceled. High-performance versions shut down. Global use of the 202 denied. Upgrades delayed intentionally. EFI project, which would have made Australia a world leader, was killed after one meeting. And then it got darker. Internal notes show GM told Holden to restrict airflow, detune camshafts, limit horsepower to under 140, and even loosen production tolerances to make engines inconsistent. Why? Because simple dyno tests showed the 202 could easily hit 170, 180 HP with basic tweaks, and higher, almost certainly. But GM couldn't allow an Australian six-cylinder to outperform their beloved American V8s. So they clipped its wings, on purpose. But the racetrack doesn't lie. Here's the thing GM forgot. You can manipulate files. You can change test numbers. You can cancel projects. But you can't fake a win on the racetrack. Private race teams began noticing something weird. The 202 responded to tuning like it had been born for racing. Peter Brock proved it. 3 SUs, cam tweaks, a little magic. Suddenly this 135 HP engine was pumping out nearly 240 HP. Then came the 1972 Bathurst shocker. In pouring rain, Harry Firth's Tirana GTR XU1, powered by a 202, beat multiple V8s. Live, on camera, in front of the entire nation. Detroit saw the footage. And let's just say, they weren't sending congratulations. Within months, regulations changed. Small engines were handicapped. Weight penalties appeared. Restrictions tightened. But even under the new rules, the 202 kept winning. The global cover-up. In 1971, GM's Michigan test facility received 320 Holden vehicles. A retired engineer later admitted the 202 outperformed engines it had no business beating. Detroit couldn't risk this engine going global, not when they had billions invested in their own powertrains. A leaked 1972 memo revealed the plan. Regionalize the 202. Limit it. Contain it. Make sure it never threatens the hierarchy. EFI? Scrapped. High-performance variants? Canceled. Touring projects? Shut down. Global expansion? Dead. The 202 became a victim of politics, not engineering.
The secret cult that saved the 202. But here's where the story flips. Because while GM tried to bury the 202, car lovers around the world started digging it back up. Small garages in Australia kept building them. Online communities in Japan and Germany began tuning them. Collectors in the US started hunting for rare blocks. Prices skyrocketed. A matching numbers 202 block? Now over $8,000. A rare double blue stripe 202? Over $12,000. This wasn't just nostalgia. This was recognition. A great engine had been suppressed, and people wanted to reclaim it. The legacy GM couldn't erase. The Honda 202 is more than metal and bolts. It's a symbol of Australian innovation, corporate fear, silenced engineering, and mechanical rebellion. Its 7-main-bearing bottom end, once called overkill, is now celebrated as one of the most durable designs of its era. Its cylinder walls inspired future inline-6s. Its tuning potential is legendary. The aftermarket scene? Thriving. From Australia to the US to Japan, the Hyundai 202 has found its place not in GM's corporate files, but in the hearts of people who understand true engineering. The final message. The Holden 202 wasn't supposed to survive history. GM tried to bury it. They tried to control it. They tried to erase it. But passion, real passion, can't be silenced. If you've ever driven a Holden, worked on a 202, or simply love stories of the underdog beating the giant, you're part of this legacy. And before we wrap up, please subscribe to the channel. It genuinely helps me bring you more untold stories, hidden engineering secrets, and forgotten mechanical legends. This is just a beginning. There are many more secrets waiting beneath the hood.